As we serve communities across Cameroon, our desire is to be able to get the word of God out in the language of the people so that the church can use this word as soon as possible to do evangelism, to do discipleship, to do church planting, to help in the growth of individual Christians as they grow the church. And one of the biggest challenges over the years has been the pace of Bible translation. How can we be able to get the scriptures as soon as possible? Churches want it so bad, people want it so bad. And one of the ways we tried a method last month where we were able to mobilize communities, and many people were involved in the Bible translation process, a process called MAST, where pastors and literacy teachers and trained translators and even lay people who had never done any training came together from 5 communities and were able to do translation. And they were quite amazed to see the progress, how they were able to do it faster than they used to do it, because they were able to do the translation right on the spot. They were able to decide on the key terms. They were able to just check the scriptures along with pastors and along with other people in the community.
National leaders work a lot closer with the local church, and in doing so, the demands of national leaders have already pressed Bible translation. They've already been doing translations faster than the past paradigms. A lot of them do it in 6 years' time. But because they have relationship with the church, the demands are even faster. The church have expectations of days, even weeks. Well, that might not be realistic, except that the national leaders are saying, how can we meet this demand? And how can we take those years away and start looking at formulas of months? We're attempting to use a new process that has 2 major components to it. It's quite simply a drafting side and a checking side. Now, as simple as it might be to say in 2 steps, there's many steps within both sides of that. The first one is just simply consuming text, taking in multiple source texts so they can actually read the Bible from different perspectives and take it in. These are highly regarded source texts, okay, but they're basically getting a big picture of text. After that, they discuss the text. Okay, and then they do a blind draft of the text, and then they actually go into a checking model next. In that stage, they will go to a self-check, a peer check, a keyword check, and a verse-by-verse check. After that whole process is done, we still hope to take it to some review committees that will include the community on 2 different levels. In a small level of people who know translation background, and in a larger level where the community can check it, implement it, and bring it back to the church.
The local church is God's instrument for transformation in any community. As we've engaged the churches in Cameroon at the level of the top denominational level, at the level of mid-level with urban church pastors, at the level of community pastors, rural church leaders, we've come to realize that the work belongs to the church. Churches have asked us, why are you keeping us away from this work? This is something the church ought to be doing. And we've been able to work with the churches, and we're making sure that the Bible translation process belongs to the local church, that the local church needs to initiate Bible translation, that they need to be able to be part of the process, and approval needs to be in the hands of the church at both the national level and the regional level and at the local level, because they are the ones who have to use scriptures to be able to reach their own people. They know the language better than outsiders who come in to do the translation, so approval needs to be in the hands of the church.
With the demands that churches are putting on national organizations, and even churches themselves, we've had to look at new models. We're approaching some models that don't do the past paradigms of numbers. What if we could take larger numbers of people, engage them in translation in the efforts that they can give to bring to the table, and do things that we never expected?
And through this process, we've discovered that as communities come together in bigger number to do the translation, they're able to check one another's work. That at the end of the translation, the same day, they're able to sit together as a bigger group to read through what they have translated, and they're able to give input in the area of naturalness, in the area of accuracy. We've discovered that this is better than we've ever done before, because sometimes a few group of people, maybe 3, 4, or 5 people do the translation, and it takes many weeks or months to go back into the community and do the check-in with the community. But here you have the whole community checking on the same day and correcting on the same day that the translation is done. And as we continue to do this, our desire is to improve on the quality, improve on the accuracy and the naturalness, because the whole community, pastors and elders and others in the community, are involved in the translation process.
Systems. This is one of the most exciting things that we've seen in Bible translation. It continues to grow, and I think they are becoming the most innovative leaders on the field today.
The past week to this point, I would say I'm marveled by what we have done so far. We have already drafted and checked the Gospel of Mark, and also we have been able, the Go team, I think that is the only team that has been able to also translate the First Thessalonians, and we are on Second Thessalonians. I think by the time I get to meet the team, they would have finished that too. I want to say that it's a very, I don't know how to express my joy for this privilege and the opportunity that we have been given for the Ngo people to get the word of God in their language. The impact that is being created by this work is beyond, I don't know what to say. It's too, I want to use this opportunity as the exegete for the Ngo language to say we extend our deep felt appreciation. God will be looked on as a Ngo man, as a person who is also identifying with the Ngo, who feels the pain that the Ngo man is feeling, who loves Ngo, and who can share with them in everything, both in their joys and in their difficulties. God is great.
And one community that was coming for another workshop called the Mancon community, were coming for a grammar workshop, and they happened to come, and the grammar workshop was postponed. We asked them if they would be willing to stay. So they invited more people who came to this workshop, and they went away with the Gospel of Mark and First and Second Thessalonians. And one Sunday, one of the people who had done this translation decided to go and test it in the local church. And she read the Gospel of Mark. Her pastor let her to read the Gospel of Mark. When the pastor heard the Gospel of Mark, the first chapter of the Gospel of Mark, he said he had never heard anything like this. He changed his sermon and was able to preach from that gospel. So we discovered that this is a way to accelerate the process of Bible translation.
And that by the end of this year we would have translated and checked all the 4 Gospels of the New Testament. And I don't think this is a difficult task to do. With the commitment and the people with whom I'm working, and with the commitment that they have for this work, and their hard work, and by God's grace, the wisdom and the knowledge that God has given them, I think we will hit this start to thank the donors for this great job, for what God is using them to do. And I continue to pray for them, that God will continue to use them, that He will protect them, and that He will give them, even in the different points of need, He will reach them. May God bless these people who are doing this great job for us. Thank you so much.
So we are excited about what God is doing with the changes across the world, with the changes in technology, with the heavy involvement of the church. I think together with the local churches, we can go ahead and get the scriptures out to the people through this model rather than later.